Tech Tales 105, good morning to you. Makes me chuckle a little bit because as I'm recording this, it's actually Friday afternoon. I say good morning because I'm going to publish this at 8 a.m. some morning. I don't know what morning. My current strategy with Tech Tales is when I've got something buildable in front of me that I can record, just hit the record button and go for it. So I'm about to go deliver this Dell microcomputer, Optiplex, to a client, but I need to mount it first. So I'm going to show you the mounting process. This is the cage that it gets mounted into. It comes with these rubber bumpers that go around at different points. It comes with a Wi-Fi antenna. See there, I'm showing the whole Wi-Fi antenna, and I'm going to mount it to the back of one of the monitors. For this office, we use 2 monitors for each installation. So the computer's mounted on the back of one of the 2 monitors. Get that out of the bag so it stops crinkling. Get a bag of screws with the mounting cage. Let's see what camera looks good on this. There's that one and that one. I guess I'll do this one for now. Now the computer, you look for where the screw hole opening is on the cage and where it is on the computer. So the computer goes in one direction. You could put it in a different direction if you wanted to, Mickey Mouse it. That kind of makes it sound like there would be something wrong with doing that, but there's really not. But I put them in the right way. So these 2 strips go at this point and this point. And then these pieces, there's 4 of them. They go 2 on each side, front and back. So the computer fits a little bit snugger in there. So just pull the cover off. Put it under there, firm it up a bit. Number 2. And these guys, I suppose a person could ask, why don't these come pre-installed? I don't know. These cages are specifically for this model of Dell Optiplex. There's lots of different cages available. There are other cages less expensive than this one that would work, but they just don't quite fit as well. There's actually a part about this cage that I don't like, or it doesn't fit as well, and you have to get the right monitor. A monitor that works with it okay. So that takes a little bit of pre-thought or experience. In my case, I'm using experience because I've worked with these computers quite a bit. So now, got the screw hole aligned, and it slides in, and it's a bit more snug, and those rubber pads give it a little bit of cushion, still has a little bit of wiggle room. And then one of these screws is good for that piece. It's a thumb screw. Here we go. So it's a thumb screw. Now, it's not actually time to screw that in place yet, because before doing that, I have to mount the cage to the monitor. So I've got a monitor in a box behind me over here. I'm going to go ahead and unbox that and then put the cage in there. Where do I want to set this for now? Over there. I usually don't do this at my desk. Usually I would do this at the my kitchen counter. Now I've got some extra stuff stuffed in here because I already started prepping this for the car. I've got some extra cables in here that I'll be using for the monitor connections, and I got myself a variety of choices. I'm going to show those in a little bit. So I just had those stuffed in here. For unboxing this, good idea to pull out some of the paraphernalia from these little pockets in the side of the styrofoam, and then just turn the box over, and it may have things in it that are ready to fall out the sides. So bring it up slowly. This side is solid, so I'm going to tilt it a little bit so that if there's anything else in there to fall out, it won't fall out just yet. So I just lost my screen on the recording. There it is. So then this is actually taped in and that's taped in. So those weren't about to fall out. I picked the bottom of the monitor up a little bit and expose this bottom part so that I can put the foot on it. The stand, okay, if I'm going to use a better technical term for it. It's not a foot, it's a stand. Then these two pieces go together. Let's see if will this camera be a better place to show that? Yeah. So that's going to sit on the desktop surface, and then this piece slides in like that. And there's just a thumb screw down here to secure that. And then this is going to face this way, so the monitor is facing that way. The screen would be that way. So now I can come down right down here while the monitor is still in the box and slide that up. Snaps in place. Pick the monitor up. Okay, so here's the 4 VESA mounting holes, and I buy this particular model of Benq monitor because when I compare different monitors, they'll have the holes set up differently, they'll have the stand set up differently, and the connections. I like these monitors because they give me a good variety of connections. There's a VGA, there's an HDMI, there's a display port. And then there's audio because these monitors have speakers built into them. So that's another reason that I like them. Now, one of the things that doesn't work quite right with this cage is that this cage comes with these slots here. And the idea behind that is you put these Velcro straps through the slots and you can strap the AC adapter so that it hangs below this. But with this monitor and this mounting bracket, that's not going to work because the stand is right here. And even this bracket, mounting it here, it's so close. It's actually touching the bracket and the stand here. When I screw that on tight, it's putting pressure there. And if somebody tilts the monitor, that's just not going to work. They're not going to be able to tilt it. So I mount this upside down. And you can tell by the writing here. Now the writing is upside down. Trying to get a good light reflection. That doesn't work. Maybe this way will work better. Yeah, there you can see human-centric, and the slots are on the bottom. So that's the way it's intended to mount. I mount it like this. And so that's going to mean that the computer is mounted in the opposite direction, but that's not a problem. So what that means is, in this case, that screw hole is over here if I've got this turned the way they want it. Now the screw hole is up here. So that means that the computer is going to be mounted this way. Downside of that is the power button is down here on the bottom. So you can't just reach over the top and hit the power button. You have to reach under the bottom or around the side. And then all of the cables come out this side. Now, another possibility is that this cage could be mounted this way. Well, no, not this way, because it would have to slide up from the bottom. It could be mounted this way to where it slides down from the top, and you've got a power button up here, but then you've got all the wires coming down this way, and I just didn't care for the way that looked. So the way that I've been doing it is mounting this way. And these, the screw hole pattern is square, so you've got that flexibility. The mounting cage came with 4 screws that fit in here. They're Phillips head. Looks like I need to re-magnetize my screwdriver, and that I've got my magnet. The parking place for my magnet is hanging right off the bottom of this metal shelving unit, so I always put it back there, that way I know where it goes, and magnetize the screwdriver just by doing that a few times. That should do it. So then, oh, these are not magnetized screws, magnetizable screws, I guess. Yep, no, they're not. See here, the screwdriver is magnetized. These screws don't respond to magnetism. I didn't know that, I didn't recall that. So I'll put one of the screws into one of the holes, and I'm checking here to see that this hole lines up there and the bottom hole lines up, to be sure I've got the correct holes, because there's an inside screw position and there's an outside screw position. So this Visa pattern uses the outside. I'll put in opposite corners without timing it all the way until I get all the screws in. The only time I drop screws is when the camera's running. There it is. The back of the monitor has just a little bit of a rounded shape to it. So for instance, if I were to really clamp down on these screws, it's probably going to distort the back of the monitor a little bit, or it could, but I find that they go plenty snug without any hazard. And get the computer turned the right way, slide it into position, put the thumb screw on. To transport this to my client's office, I simply put a towel down on the seat in my car and lay the monitor face down on the seat. And I've done it different ways. It's not a big deal for short local distances. Okay, so there's that, and then here's all the connections. The only other piece that I'd like to show here is these cables, because I buy these various different size cables that I've kind of been experimenting with. They're different sizes and styles. So the monitor that the computer is attached to, I've got a few different choices of 1.6 foot long signal cables. I have HDMI and I have DisplayPort. This computer, and it varies a little bit from one model of these to another, and I buy the model that it gives me a good price for the right configuration, but they have had different configurations of video. So here's 2 display ports and 1 HDMI port. I can use any combination of those. I need to use 2 of them. So these short cables I have, there's one is HDMI, this one is DisplayPort, and an HDMI. So I'm going to do it with HDMI this time. And I have a label here that tells me some information about my purchase of it. So once I take this label off, that gives me a clue of where to record it in my QuickBooks Online accounting software. So this is the HDMI. Plug that guy in there. And the HDMI port is right there. So this gives a pretty nice, it helps with the cable management on the monitor to have short cable where a short cable is needed. And let's go to this camera and show that the way I've got this cable twisted around here now is not ideal, so I'm just going to take that off and twist it around so that the cable stays inside the plane of the computer. By the time, once I get this set up on the client's desk, there's going to be more cables. This back plate on the stand opens up right here. It pushes up. And this is a little awkward to get off once the computer is mounted. Can I? That's actually enough to do it, because you can see there that I can run the cables out the back of the computer and then in through this hole right here, and it's got a couple of wire or metal tubes here that I can route the cables through and have them come out the bottom if I want to go to that level of tidying up the cables, which it depends upon how it sits on the desk. Then for the second monitor, there'll be a cable coming out of one of the DisplayPort ports and running to the monitor that's on the side. And those cables are 3 foot long. So I think in this instance that the other monitor is going to be over that side, because 3 foot, by the time it goes out that way, is going to have the monitors right side by side to where they're touching each other. If I put the second monitor on the right side of this computer, then that 3 foot is going to allow for a gap between these monitors. And that's totally okay. That's a user preference. And here's an alternate way to transport the monitor if it's a new monitor and with the computer attached. So I can put the original cover over the monitor and then half of the styrofoam clamshell, and then lay that on the seat of my car with that stand over the edge of the seat. I don't always bother with doing that, but I'm going to go ahead and do that this time. Another thing that I've done is to take the second half of the clamshell and cut out an opening in it for the computer, so that I can actually put the other half of the styrofoam clamshell on here, and then set the entire monitor in the original monitor box, and this piece just hangs out the top. So that's kind of a slick way to do it too. And here's an even better variation. It's amazing when I try to teach, anytime that I teach something, I find better ways to do it. So I just realized, why do I really need to cut out the other part of the clamshell to do this? And the answer is no. So what I did here is I've just got the one half of the clamshell. The computer adds enough thickness to actually touch this side of the box, and that keeps us stable inside the box. Now when I get to my client's office, I can take my hand cart and put one of the monitor boxes on the cart, and then put this one on the front of that, and be able to wheel it all in together. Really convenient. A whole lot easier than hand carrying that monitor separately. So I just discovered that. Thanks for helping me with that. And just in case the question comes up, this is a Benq Gw2480. There's a GL2480 that I do not like. And I also use the 2880, 2680, whatever it is. That's the number of inches. That's the size. This is a 24 inch. And this is usually what I use, because the next size up, those two big monitors next to each other, that's just really big. You got to look across the football field to be able to use that. So I think that's about it for this video. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.